Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Jaden XD, here with the Married at First Sight recaps.
We back again.
Yeah, we took a week off last week because we were working on a project for the show. But in all honesty, it's okay because it was about dogs.
It was all about dogs. Must love dogs.
Yeah, and dogs are cool, but nothing really happened too much, so we're just gonna breeze through episode 12 and then get into last night's episode because that's where the trash resides.
Where the messy resides.
So I also have new names. Yeah.
Go ahead, introduce them.
Yeah, so let's start with last week's episode. So, before it was their month anniversary, and they celebrate, and I hate that stupid word.
I was waiting for it. I was like, we have to keep saying this, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, like it's just... Because
so
in high school, it's our 6-month anniversary,
like,
our
yeah,
6-month
bitch.
anniversary.
Hit me when you put in work, nigga. Month anniversary. I get it in this context, but I still hate it.
Yeah, it's dumb. So QAnon, I now refer to as January 6th. And not Mila Kunis, I will interchangeably use her name with liquor labels. just to eliminate any confusion from here on out.
All right, I like it. It will be various liquor brands because whatever comes to brain is what it's going to be.
Absolutely. Which is so funny based on this week's episode. Right. So January 6th and Cuddy Sark are recapping their month anniversary date.
Breathing in each other's faces and shit.
Yeah, and they're doing yet another relationship check-in because who's the insecure one in the relationship? January 6th is.
Oh, absolutely. And I know he's a pilot, but he talks like he's on drugs.
Yeah.
His tongue be mad lazy.
He talks like a pilot, if you know what I mean.
You're right. Talking about, I can't be doing all that drinking and stuff.
Right. Remember those slew of pilots who all got hung up, and it was like pilots were getting fired every day.
It was the cocaine heard around the world.
The $50 bill rolled up.
Woo, honey.
Yeah,
I'm awake. I'm alive.
It was like pilots were getting fired every day, honey. But anywho. He has issues with her dog, which come up in the next episode.
Yep.
And, he's trying to talk to her, but she's also tending to the dog as well. And you can tell the dog hasn't adjusted to him and his dog.
Just the new environment in general.
Right. And so he's just I'm giving up. Are you going to listen to me or are you going to talk? Tend to the dog. And she's like, I could do two things at once, nigga. Leave me alone. But he needs so much attention.
Oof.
I hate him.
So very much, nigga. So very
smug,
much.
Arrogant, and bold. No.
And the thing about it is he's so arrogant about it. He's he thinks his dog is way more trained than her dog. And he's like, I need to be firm with him. He needs some of the instilling of my military background training. And she looks at him like, nigga, what?
Right.
You're not about to shot collar my dog. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm like, nigga, stop treating my dog like a street pit. Stop. And y'all need to stop doing that to pit bulls too, because they are beautiful dogs.
Yeah, I don't like
humans.
Yeah.
Do this. They are not menacing. You all do this.
Yeah, I don't like the stigma that pit bulls have. There are very, very nice and wonderful creatures. Every pit bull that I have met has been trained well and are lovable. They just big.
They just big niggas. I love a good blue pit with white feet, give me some white socks.
Yeah.
I love
It's
Rottweilers. They're beautiful, sweet dogs. They have kind of shaky immune systems, but
it's them little ones you got to worry about.
I hate
like
them
the little
motherfuckers. Let me tell you something. Them little Yorkies and terriers and shit. I told you I had a homegirl back, and this is how I should have known the fate of our friendship. And I came out of the bathroom in her hallway, and her stupid fucking dog ran up on me and bit my knee and hung on.
Oh my God. Sorry.
Like, hung on. I thought I told you this, and I'm shaking my leg, and this motherfucker's and he's on my knee. This shit hurts. And I kicked the fuck out of that dog. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Two things are happening.
I was literally
you laughing at your trauma and you getting canceled by PETA.
They can't cancel me. That was self-defense, okay? Y'all not murder, one, and manslaughter are not the same thing. And y'all not gonna get on me for trying to protect my knees. This nigga was hanging on and had no fucking reason. I came out of the bathroom and this nigga hung on to my knee. And it was like a fucking, sheep poo? Or it was one of them little white ones with the bad breath. The terrier. What is it?
Oh, God.
Oh, I was so irritated. Irritated.
So because I get this image.
Don't rock with the smaller. I like little wiener dogs. I think they're cute.
I'm just getting this image of just a little dog hanging on from your knee.
And it's like, a lot of screaming because she's not yelling at the dog. She's yelling at me. And I'm yelling at the dog. I'm like, get the fuck off my knee. And she's like, don't talk to the dog like that. And then I threw the dog and it was madness and chaos. And it was,
oh my gosh.
It was it's like, get your fucking dog. Woo! What did you say last time? We're having gyros tonight, kids.
Okay.
But that's what he wants to do to Haraki. And
and the conversation it changes super quickly because she's like, oh no.
Yeah, she's like, I'm done with this. Actually, I don't want to talk about this no more. She goes outside to go walk him, and that's when she's crying, and producers are like, what's happening? She's like, I was lost and depressed, and he saved me, and that's why we have such a special bond, and all of I don't.
Which comes back up in the next episode, but they also got into a fight the night of their month anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really don't get. She disappeared for like
30 minutes,
half an hour, and all of a sudden his insecurity like like went through the roof. Excuse me.
I'm assuming that they're out with her friends. Maybe this is a big location. White people, sometimes they go to bars that there's different sections, and they like to play games, darts, and
oh yeah,
pool and things like that.
Bocce ball down at Union Hall.
Or like giant Jenga. They like to do shit like that. And she had on
I do that.
Her in the t-shirt and the jeans and her Vans and shit. I said, okay, it was probably that kind of establishment. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna play big
like
ass
a not
Connect
David
4.
Buds. Yeah, not David Buster's, but just bar games.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that she was with her people. She's about tired of him. She's around him all the time. And she said, I'm going to the bathroom. She says she went to the bar. She probably tried to get another drink. It takes a few minutes. It's a crowded bar. This is Atlanta in a pandemic, so nothing is stopped. And
No, not
it's
at
probably
all.
taking her a while to get her drink. She's chatting it up with her homegirl. She's taking space from him. And she says it. She goes, "You didn't call me or text me, so you wasn't that worried. You're just controlling is what you are."
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And he comes and then he responds with this really calm, passive ass tone. Like, I don't understand why you're upset. You just need to understand that you are married. You are married. You have a responsibility to this marriage.
And he goes, "It's not controlling, it's protective. You're controlling,
Right.
sir, and you're emotionally abusive because you talk to her like she's fucking dumb. And you keep, which we'll get to in the next episode, but you keep throwing this, you can leave, I can go, I'm done. You keep throwing this shit out there, which ultimately creates a very horrible emotional safe space. You are taking away an emotional safe space is what you're doing when you do things like that. And it's emotionally abusive.
Exactly.
And
she ends up
Yeah, go ahead.
she ends up like having a breakdown and says, like she has a bunch of anxiety surrounding this, and this is kicking up fears from her childhood, and he's making this about him now and how she did wrong and how her mental health is affecting this relationship, which is what he's intimating. And I hate that. And that's when I was like, oh, this white man is evil.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. Because he's doing it really calm, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing it really, really calm. And he's playing victim because he's like, I just get hurt. Like, that's just what happens in my life. I get hurt time after time. But this is right after you told her you're fucking done.
Right.
And all this other shit. Like, so of course she's feeling, and you could see it all in her face, besides the hyperventilating and all that shit. You could see when she would just go blank in the face because literally she don't know how she's shutting down. She doesn't know how to handle herself in that moment because he is
Right.
Ooh, I want to shove his face into a toilet. I can't stand him.
Yeah. And I thought I was going to end up liking him, but no, he is the worst.
Nah.
He's I honestly almost as bad as hashtag blessed.
Oh yeah. And I'm gonna be real
Because-
disappointed if she chooses to stay married.
Me too. Absolutely. For most of the part of this episode, evil villain and rom-com are the same. They
Yes.
agree to start over, and then they argue again.
Yeah, it's the 12th time they've agreed to start over.
Yeah, but that's not really... And she kicks his ass at go-karting and, whatever. Nothing... They're just awkward and white the whole episode. But... Hey, Black Christian weave lady. Now, she has a brother
And sister-in-law.
and a sister-in-law with a lot of eyelashes.
Volkswagen.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't know why her brother hasn't fought him yet. Like, hashtag blessed yet. You know what I mean?
I do. I know why. Like, I have an idea. The thing about it is with brothers, when you're younger, yeah, they gonna fight for you. But as you get older and they get in their own relationships and you get in yours, I find a lot of times they're ultimately there. They're gonna protect you if you have that type of relationship, obviously. They don't ever want to see anything, and they will kill for you. But a lot of times, too, they're like, you got to handle certain things for yourself. And in this particular situation, as wretched, as greasy face as hashtag bless is, he hasn't put his hands on her.
No, he hasn't.
He has, you know what I'm saying? Now, a conversation, I get, but maybe he's like, it's not worth it for me to have a conversation with somebody who's acting like this. I just want my sister to get the fuck ASAP.
Yeah.
So that's kind
Valid.
of where, I think it is.
That's fair. Well, they have dinner over plated takeout, and she tells them about what's going on. And she admits again that she lost herself because of her love of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
But then her brother changes and gives her this little sermon about weathering a storm and shit, and how this may work out.
See, that's probably another reason he ain't said nothing.
And womp. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, this episode was about dogs, so, you know, they do this whole bit about whose dog gets along with what. Not Miro and Heather Headley's dog, Cookie. He loves that dog. They are so in love with each other. They are just the cutest couple.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
No, sometimes they're cute.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly everybody's dog gets along well, except for you know, January 6th
and that's because the dog
Rocky.
reads his evil spirit. And see, the only reason why Black Christian Weave Lady's dog hasn't bit the shit out of #blessed knee is because he ain't had enough time to be around him.
Oh yeah, because he's not there.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
And I laughed when they asked him about the dog. And he was like, I don't give a fuck about that
I don't
dog.
give a fuck about that dog. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'd rather the
laughed
dog
'cause that
bite
shit
you
was
and
funny.
you kick it, and then you got some justification, but you just came out the gate with some reckless violence.
What the fuck the dog
I hate
did
her
to
fucking
you?
dog. They're like, you don't even know it. Well, that nigga is full of evil.
He is a spore. I hate him.
Oh, no, don't call him a spore, because you can grow wonderful
He is fungus.
psilocybins with a spore. There we mold.
Scum. He is mold. He
He's
is
mold.
rust.
He's mildew.
Yes, he is. He is everything. Ooh, gross.
Asbestos.
Yeah.
Alfred and Anderson Paak Graham Cracker took up tantric yoga, and this nigga still continues to either be asexual, or
It's either he's asexual or he'll
Or
coochie
homo.
stick. Like I can't figure out which is.
I can't. Yeah, or he's gay, or he is,
Right.
or he is like, you know, joyous for Jesus, and is like, I can't, because we learned
Which is-
another tidbit in this episode we're about to talk about. You ready to be
Yeah.
done with this episode?
Yeah, I am. Let's take a break and go on to episode 13.
Yeah.
And we're back. So let's talk about this week's episode where
Last night.
right. Yeah, last
Couldn't
night's
even
episode,
find an answer.
literally. So we'll go through this episode in depth. Okay. So we're at day 37 of marriage. We're about 2 weeks before decision day. 2 weeks in their world. We don't know how many episodes yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're beginning to discover what annoys about them, about each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And we're getting
I'm from-
tidbits. We're getting like, because Heather Headley's trying to wake Miro up. Anderson Paak is making Alfred work out. And QAnon is definitely going to poison Not Mila's dog at this point.
oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And then there's,
yet another lunch special.
And Black Christian Weave Lady and her keys in her purse.
Yes. Yes.
Grab my keys. Grab my
Oh my gosh, why was I thinking? I was like, she is a Jill Scott album.
She is. Grab my jacket off to work.
She's the real thing. Like her whole, like she is Words and Sounds Volume 3.
Yes, she is. Except Crown Royal. Yeah, she's not Crown Royal on Ice now.
Well, she was in the first night.
I know she was ready. She was ready in the first couple episodes. Cause remember they asked her. They was like, "You gonna? Is you gonna fuck or not?" And she was like, "What you mean? Hell yeah!"
She's about it.
Yeah, she
And look where
is.
that got her.
Wow, man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So we go to not Mila Kunis and QAnon.
Yeah, QAnon endures.
So Jennifer with a G shows up with the kids.
That's what I put. Jennifer with the G. Her lesbian sister comes over with her children.
Yes. And
Yes.
she says, Seagrams has been so busy that I've not gotten a chance to really like catch up with my good sis. So, I can't do this.
Captain Morgan was like,
Captain Morgan. She talks about their issues with moving, and she goes right into. She's like, well, like he wants to live here, I don't. So I'm like, let me go back to my space until we figure out a neutral ground. And Jennifer with a G is like, whew, baby, I am worried about them.
yeah. The only person on this show that ever has sense. She's just like,
Well, I don't know how much sense she has because moving forward,
because of the question she asked right after this.
QAnon takes the kiddies out to the playground, and Jennifer with the G immediately says, well, are they safe with him? Well, why did you let them go if you had that question?
I was like, that is a valid question to everybody on this cast. Are you able to be around children safely?
That needs to be the first question. I don't even care if you don't want kids. Are you able to be around kids safely? This is something I need to know.
Right.
So Cavassier is, talking about him wanting kids and all these things. And Jennifer with a G is like, take your time, young man. Like, there is no rush.
Don't you rush to get old,
There's
honey.
no rush to bring Nicholas into this world, okay? I want to show you how there is no rush. I got 3 of them motherfuckers, and I let them go outside with your shiftless husband, who I don't really know like that because I just need 7 minutes of peace. I'm willing to risk it all.
Yeah. Jennifer is my kind of girl.
Right? Do you want to be here? She's like, travel, go to
Right.
Rome together. Figure out how you live.
Yes.
Take your time.
Take your time. Because she was like, do you really want to be with kids with somebody you don't really know like that?
Then, what is it? Parrot Bay says, is that what it's called? 99 Apples brings up the friend stuff and his insecurities with the friend stuff. And then she goes, and he's got political views the same as Dad. And Jennifer with a G, Steve Carell's. Ooh.
Yeah, she winced. She was like, ooh.
I wanted her to get more into that, but she didn't.
Me too. But you know they
white
edited
people.
that out
Yeah.
because Kinetic Productions LLC was like, y'all not gonna Nick Cannon us, no ma'am.
And they voted for Trump.
No, they did.
You don't think
No,
so?
they did.
Okay.
Oh, I know they did.
Oh, okay. I thought you said no, they didn't.
No, I stand and affirm that,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
are proud to be an American.
Okay.
Like, that's who they are.
Like a rock.
Yeah.
So moving on to Heather Headley and Not Miro.
Yeah. Now, this is a very valid conversation that they had, and this was the most honest conversation of this whole entire episode.
Boots.
So, now, me and Not Miro have the same, like, you know, we both quit our jobs and started our businesses in April. Now, mind you, he started his business in April of 2020. This looks about October 2020 because of the Halloween candy on
Okay.
Cuddy Stark's table.
She's a festive.
So, yeah. So she's like, Heather Headley is like, okay. They operate in two different headspaces.
Yeah.
he wants to be a little bit more frugal because he wants to save and buy a house. And yeah. And,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
Listen,
No, honey,
if it was if it was fully about just buying the house, I actually could see both of their point of views, right? In this specific space, let's be very clear because we're gonna get to it. But the debilitating concern on his face as she got into her day-to-days was like, he looked like, what's that man's name? Young Star? What's his name? And then they'd be putting the weaves and the nails on him, and they'd be like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, I can't. He's like, you spend how? She goes, well, I spend about $300 to $400 a month on my Michael Kors and Dooney & Burks. And then,
oh, yeah.
I can bring that down to about $150, $250. Because the girl only needs but so many wedges. And she's like, I gotta get waxed because that's a part of my self-care. Then there's the eyebrow. And when I want to get my hair braided, that's a minimum of $250. Valid.
Yeah.
Valid.
Yeah.
All of this is valid. She's like,
all of it is.
Then that comes out in about 4 to 6 weeks, depending upon what we look at like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And her rationale is like, I earned this money and it's mine.
And Mama didn't have no issues, it looked like, before this show came on. Like when they showed her cute ass apartment, Mama had her West Elm and her IMAX set up, and her, like, she was living her little life. Didn't seem like she was struggling.
Right. Now, on a little budget thing, it had 2 numbers. One was $109,000, and then another number was $89,000.
Oh no, I saw $9,000.
No, if you go look on the screen, there's a max total of 109, and there's another total that says 89,000.
Well, so I wonder if that's because it broke down the monthly, because the monthly was $9,000 at the top.
Yeah, I just want to know. I mean, she's a mechanic, she's an engineer, so right. I'm sure she makes 6 figures. I'm just curious as to what he's bringing in.
Oh, you said the numbers were what?
One is like 109,000 because I did see the 9,000. So that's the big number.
The 109,000 is a breakdown of 9,000 and some change, whatever that was. If you do an even 9,000, that's 108,000. But their number was 9,000, whatever. So if you do that and break it down to 12 months, that's probably what you were looking at.
Got it.
Was the breakdown of how much their yearly expenses would be.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Understand. So this is how I know they both on Twitter, because she makes a $200 date reference
immediately. And so does he.
I was like, oh, not this shit again. God, I can't get away from you niggas.
But then she says, I just want to be courted. She's like, that doesn't mean we have to be going to spend money all willy-nilly. Like, we don't. She's like, a date could be a hike. A date could be this or that. It doesn't always have to be that. But
yes. I don't want to come home and do nothing.
Right. And he's like, well, I want to spend less and I want to, go out less and save more.
Yeah. Dominican men want to be old really quickly.
Yes, because he makes a reference later that we'll get to.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I was like, wow, you fast forward to all of that life. That's the moment that you thought about with kids, but we'll get to it.
I mean, I think about that shit too. But
well, friend,
because we'll talk about when we get there.
We'll talk about it.
Because I have to tell you about my Jackie O fantasy.
So, Pastor Cal. I know.
Not the rapper.
I know it's not the rapper. You thought I went to that first? I did not. No, I went to the bitch with the shades and the head wrap, nigga.
Yes, me.
Exactly. Think I don't know you? So Pastor Cal and it's the sweet one are meeting with all the. I could not call.
I kept doing that everywhere. I was like, "It's the sweet one."
It was either that or I was like, Pepper Red, Pepper Red.
Yeah, Dr. Thunder.
Yes, which is what my grandfather used to buy.
Okay, listen, ain't
Mountain
no
Lightning.
cookout without Dr. Thunder, honey.
Dr. Thunder and Mountain Lightning, you better get with the times.
Okay, get with the program.
So they're meeting with all of the individuals within the couples, and wow.
Yeah, she meets up. Pastor Cal
Lafroy
meets with Johnny Walker.
he meets with Lafroy.
Yeah.
And, she's hoping that he can help them kind of talk through their issues. Because the thing about it is, even in all of their toxicity, they both still have a desire to want to make this work. Her included, which I'm like, run, girl.
Yeah, get in front of some people. But for whatever reason, they seem to be seeing eye to eye on a lot of stuff, which leads me to that, or she has a daddy issue, because if everybody's telling you, if your sister Jennifer with the G is telling you, and you telling people he's just like daddy, and your sister's saying it sounds like he's just like daddy.
So, she talks about how they ask about the highs and the lows, which is what they do. I mean, they ask about the highs and the lows, which is what they're doing with each couple, each individual. And she says, well, the thing about it is we have really high highs, but we have really low lows. When it's good, it's great. When it's bad, it's terrible. So she brings up the kid thing and how he wants them. And she has a fear of being pregnant. I'm going to tell you the theme that I walked away with in this episode at the end. But she has a fear of being pregnant and being a bad mom. And go ahead.
No, this is why I had many thoughts about
Please.
Women and their bodies and how men should just shut the fuck up.
Oh, we was going to get to that. Don't you worry about a thing. Because
I wanted to call this literally men shut the fuck up, honestly. Yeah.
Ooh. If you don't have a uteri, don't speak on one.
Yeah.
And that's not being exclusive and not inclusive, because there are men with uteruses and there are women without them. So, but if you don't have one, you shouldn't. You should not have opinions on someone else's.
Yeah.
I said that in a very non-problematic way, right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I don't ever want to come.
Yeah, just don't comment on people with people who have uteruses, or don't. You know what I mean? Like, just shut the fuck up.
And half of y'all need to stop talking on your dicks. But anyway, so
yeah.
So, she's like, the trauma from her past has affected her, which speaks to your daddy issue theme, and how that's affected her in having children, because there are things that she's witnessed and observed and heard that her parents didn't even realize that she did, and it has affected her outlook on wanting to have kids. She's like, I don't want to fuck kids up. But Pastor Kyle's like, okay, all right, so have you communicated that clearly? Have you really talked about that? On the other side of things, QAnon is meeting with Pepper Ann. And she asks about the high points, and he does his thing.
I want to say, I do, because all we've ever seen was Pastor Cal. Well, all of you and I have ever seen is Pastor Cal, because we haven't watched other
and
seasons.
Sofia Vergara.
Oh yeah, Sofia Vergara. But I will say, out of all three, I like Pastor Cal, but Dr. Pepper hit the nail on the head on every couple. And I was like, well, where the fuck was she the whole time?
First of all, Dr. Pepper looked like she don't come out unless it's time. Like, she's like, come to me when it's time to do the work.
Yeah, I know Mama had on Tivas with that. With
You
that,
know she had Tivas on
pashmina.
with that Andre Leontali frock.
I was like, oh, she's dressed like a therapist. I know that's right. Hmm. She
So
dresses like she gives seminars and talks.
does good ones. Okay, because
Hmm.
I like the way she talks for the most part.
Hmm. For the most part, yeah.
So he obviously goes into her instant connection was incredible. Wow.
Hmm.
And I so good. It's so amazing. And he goes, but I don't think that we address our issues. I think we chip at them, which he's absolutely right. Right? He's like, we don't knock
Absolutely.
them out. But what he doesn't realize is those issues are predominantly you. Yes, we all know that this girl has a drinking problem, but
Yeah.
the issues are primarily you. So he's like, I want to help train the dog. He goes into all of that, and this is where Dr. Thunder hits him with the thunder.
Okay.
Why do you need to be that dog's dad?
Mm.
And she asked, what I think I said it last week or the week before. What if this is a child? Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was thinking it. But if this is a child, you don't run up in the spot and start asserting yourself all over the place. I'm your damn daddy now. You gonna listen to me? That's not how this works. You have to ease
This
into
is not
it.
Baby Boy.
Right. You please. Okay.
Literally the
Snoop.
plot of Baby Boy.
Who's Snoop?
Miska.
Please shut the fuck up. Oh, that old pretty ass dog. Miska, her beauty supply store contacts. So
Okay. Pretty ass dog. It's the weedy
every
ass
time
dog.
she show up, like, God damn, that's a pretty ass dog.
Pretty bitch music.
Right.
Literally.
Woo, tap in, Miska. So, she's like, you gotta ease into this, my nigga. If she brought a kid into this, that would be her and her child's business to then start to integrate you into their lives. You wouldn't just go ham like this. And he listened and was like, I actually didn't even think about it that way.
Right. Like, we joke about, well, I know I joke about animals being, food and, blood special and stuff, but that is literally her emotional support animal. You know what I mean? Like, why? And it's very clear and evident that that's what Rocky is to her.
And her
So why on
child.
earth- Yeah. Oh, we also forgot to mention in the last episode where Paige admitted that she has 2 therapists, or was that the episode prior? Either way, I don't feel like
It
we
was
addressed
sad.
it enough.
Right.
Okay.
It was sad and it was noted. Okay.
Yeah.
We also got
That-
a very interesting email.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even really. We could review it.
Yeah. We heard you,
Okay.
sis, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah. But this is literally her emotional support animal. Like, why can't you see? Like, she doesn't fight you. Well, no, she fights you on your bullshit because your rationale
It's
for
bullshit.
everything is bullshit. And she doesn't like ultimatums, which is what you give her every day.
Wow.
And if somebody gives you an ultimatum every day, A, that would give me anxiety. 2, because I don't want to be divorced. And 2, who are you to give me an ultimatum
You
about
give
my
me
dog?
an ultimatum every day, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Get the fuck
Point
out of my
blank.
face with that bullshit.
Kiriana.
What? Don't do that. It's me or my dog. Or I can leave because you don't like what I'm saying. You can kiss my ass and watch it as it walks right on up out this door. So, then he starts speaking on her independence and how it can be a problem, and her hanging out with her friends, and how he wants her to stay home, or he wants to stay home, but she wants to go hang out. And so, Dr. Thunder introduces a concept, which mind-boggling. Why don't you just
Right.
ask her for one weekend out of the month, right? That's reasonable. You guys can interact with one another, and then she got 3 more weekends where she can go kick it.
Mm-hmm.
She also starts to bring up the drinking.
Yes, I said get to the root, white
to the
Iyanla.
Get to the root of things, the root chakra. And she's like, you guys, are all of your conversations under the influence? And he's like, are you okay with her drinking? And he's like, I don't love it. You know what I'm saying? But I also don't want to, I don't want to change her. You do. But,
You do.
he's like, it's not my thing like that, and it has been an issue within some of our conversations on why they've been heightened, which I don't necessarily agree with. I do think
Which
she got a
talks
drinking
about
problem.
later.
Right, but I don't think that is why. And Dr. Thunder says, well, when you go and talk to her about it, you can be honest, but you need to not be cruel. See, that's why she ain't been around. She been watching footage. Because she's sliding in these things so that they know, nigga, I've been watching you and I see what's going on. And the way that you speak is cruel, which is a very pointed word.
Yeah, he's legit mean to her.
Yeah.
Especially when he does that Cruella. Okay.
Right?
Bokeem, whoop whoop. But he is legit mean to her. And when he does that soft Hannibal Lecter voice, that gaslighting.
Bullshit.
It's just like, no, that's the sounds of abuse. So,
But he does say, he goes, I don't know if she's actually going to stop drinking to have these conversations.
Same, because I said, honey, I don't know either.
Because I too would drink to have these conversations with you, truth be told.
Absolutely. Why would I talk to you sober? Because you won't listen to what I have to say. So I might as well have a good time.
Exactly. Exactly. Look at us enabling. We're acknowledging the problem, but it's just...
Yeah, I mean, with him, girl, fine. If you're not gonna run like Paige did, although that wasn't necessarily she ran. That was kind of like he made her. But
you know what? I do have to make a fair point though before we move on. I do have to do this.
Okay.
Mama has a drinking problem. We see it. What we can say though is she does not get belligerent and out of order when she drinks.
Not that we're aware of, no.
From what we've seen. There doesn't seem to be like a out of control factor. So I don't mitigate your usage, mamas. Like for your own skin and health. You know what I'm saying? Because you're 26. Baby love.
Yeah. But you know what? Thinking when I was 26, I drank a lot too.
Also, she likes to I mean, you remember I used to carry liquor around in my backpack. We go eat pho.
Yeah.
I'm like, you trying to get lit, nigga? Like, what's up?
Yeah. Jade used to carry a 750 milliliter of Absolute in her knapsack, which she walked around.
I did. It was either that or Cavassier. I walked around and we would drink in the streets, and we drink in the Taco Bell, and we drink in the Fuzz spot, and we drink at the Chipotle, and we drank everywhere. And we smoked weed. I don't see her doing that.
Yeah, like she's functioning.
You know, when they got to the picnic, she was like, "You trying to open this bottle? I too." I'm like, "Y'all trying to roll up? Can we?"
Right. So it's no judges, but I do think that there needs to be moments where you both need to have conversations without any substance.
I agree.
Because either there's a disconnect in how he communicates, of course it's his, or how you're not coming across to him while he's drunk. Because from what we can see, right, we've only seen him fucked up. We've never seen her fucked up. It seems like she can handle. Yeah, we and I automatically assume I've known girls like that, friends with girls like that who drink a lot and go to work the next day and it's fine. But, I also don't want him to use this as a tactic point.
Exactly.
For him to be even more controlling than he already is.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So Graham Cracker meets with Dr. Thunder.
Yeah. He you know, I relate to him in the sense that, he's never met a pair of pants that didn't have Lycra in it.
Oh no, he can't. What do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, ooh, I
If you
feel
don't jump
steam.
to put jeans on, baby, you don't feel my pain.
I was like, oh, I was like, those are Ultra Flex. Got it.
Ass. You know who else has ass? Olivia Lux. She's shapely.
Yes.
Yeah, she had on them board shorts, and I said, okay, Miss Mamas.
Which I don't understand why she padded the way she does, only because it's like,
probably for
I don't know,
exaggeration. Or shape.
Probably shape.
Actually,
probably
I'm not
shape.
going to say shape because...
I'd have to, can I be honest?
Yeah.
I have to really go back and look at her runways because I don't remember any of them.
They're not... They're not bad.
They're just not memorable.
They're not memorable, and they're not for me because I can fully note those fucking Barney sneakers she would wear, those heel wedges. It looked like she was playing like Dora the Explorer.
The only thing I remember of her is when she used Candy's wig and had the.
That's when she had on
that's
them
the
Barney
one thing
sneakers. Yeah.
Got it. When
Wrong
she
show.
low key looked like she low key looked like Jiggly Caliente, but
No, she looked like Baby Bop. But she looked like Baby Bop. So he's meeting with Dr. Thunder, and you got the high points. She asked about the high points. Instant connection, energy, magnetic, we connected without many words. She's like, okay, so what are the challenges? Well, I can't think of anything.
Listen, therapy only works when you don't lie to the therapist.
Does he feel, because I'm at this point, he's so even that I'm like, bro, are you a sociopath or...
Like, I know I'm laid back and aloof in that regard, but that is delusion.
And maybe
That
he
is
really doesn't
delusion.
feel issues, but he doesn't seem to feel much.
Yeah.
You don't
Or,
see anger really. You see happiness. You don't see like joy.
Yeah.
It's not a range.
As
It's not a
someone who's
range.
not that expressive,
It's different.
I
no,
understand.
friend.
Sorry, guys. I understand. It's like yes and no. Like, there are moments where he needs to be more communicative. I don't necessarily know about expressive. Because those are two different
Sure.
things.
No, it is communicative with her. We don't see. I'm talking
Yeah.
in general about him overall. We don't see any range.
Yeah, no, I think he's probably one of those people like who likes to compartmentalize things and not exert a lot of energy to stuff.
No, it makes sense.
Like,
but he
it-
talks
like
to
he
her like
even
they're
sp-
in a conference room. He talks to everybody
Yes, he
like they're in a
does.
conference room. Yep, sure. Yep, understood. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's his. It's almost like he speaks in that new Kanye voice, but I feel like that's all. I feel like that's also a product of where he went to school to, and like his friends.
Yeah.
Because when you hear his brother speak or whatever, it's very colored.
Again, his brother works with niggas.
Right. So I don't know if the voice of how he communicates is like purposely disarming for white people, and like that's like
I mean, all of that makes sense. Did you see his digs and his stash in that other special?
on the thing? Yeah, we gotta watch. First of all, that's like 19 hours of Married at First Sight on Wednesdays.
But I said,
Is
when did you become
He
a
had the
craft
handlebars.
bar mixologist?
I was like, oh, y'all moved to Williamsburg.
Right?
You own a barbershop now.
Yeah, you do with your Black Lives Matter say their name shirt.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was
okay.
like-
Offer
I
dressed
was
you
like, your
once
wife-
again, huh?
I was like, ooh. I was like, your wife dressed you again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
She's-
baby. You're going to make sure.
She's like, let's just put, like, let me style you today.
Mm-hmm.
Because she ain't got nothing else to do.
No, she doesn't at all.
All she could do was sit up there and meticulously form that mustache because she does the
To a
same thing with her
crisp.
pubic hairs.
Yeah.
That's how she
Yeah.
passes the
Yeah.
time.
Yup. And so she meets with Pastor Calvin.
Mm-hmm.
And she does say that this is the best relationship she's ever had, considering.
Woo!
And Pastor Calvin is like, huh. Like, that's okay. And of course, him not saying I love you thing is coming up again. And what it resulted was she does love him, but she's afraid by telling him that it's going to have an adverse effect and make him run because of how long it takes him to get comfortable with intimacy.
And his spiritual journey comes up.
Yes.
And he does, you know, he is, even in him being very even kill, he is very much, he's reasonable to an extent. So he says, I don't want to push her to do anything that she doesn't want to do, because Dr. Thunder is asking about kids and, you know, what their plans are in raising them in the church, because the church is so important to him, which I guess I didn't really realize.
I didn't catch that.
I
Not,
didn't
like, I
either.
know his parents are pastors, but that's his parents. And, you know,
I
and
think
maybe there's
for him
always-
it's the structure part of it, and maybe less about the spirituality. That's just my own. I can't say that for sure because I don't know, but maybe
Well,
it's that.
you know what? Maybe this is a sibling thing. I'm not close to mine, so I'm going to ask you. So is it like typically there's always one who's more like adheres to the parent? Because I could notice that with you and your sister, how you are more of the free spirit and your sister is less of a free spirit than you are. And I get that kind of dynamic with them.
Yeah,
with
it can
Chad
be that
and-
way. I mean, sometimes you could also look at siblings like Bust Down Christiana and Tara.
Yeah.
You know, where both your kids are crackheads. It's just, you know, it could go either way, but that can be the dynamic a lot of times.
'Cause
where
that's-
there's one a little bit more straight-laced than the other.
Because it's way too much of a dramatic. Because you know, they both were afforded the same opportunities, I'm assuming. You know what I mean? And it's just like, what made this one go this way and what made this one go this way?
I am interested to know the dynamics of their family and like their household in which they grew up, because it sounds like their parents are, with both your parents being pastors, that can be a lot of pressure. You a PK 2 times. And then,
Right.
you know, maybe for the brother who is a part of the Nigga 5 South, he's like, woo, nigga, this shit was too stringent for your boy. And then maybe this one here, we can tell that he has a love for structure. And so, you know, I am curious to know the dynamics within their household and how they grew up, but we ain't never gonna learn that.
No. But, you know, I laughed at this part because Alfred is having a very, like, homosexual experience, and I'll explain. So the gays who listen to this show, you know how, like, you know, and you two included, Jade. So, like, you know, there's tops and bottoms and, you know, and verse, and, you know, some people don't subscribe to the verse agenda or whatever. But there's also a position called oral only.
Oh.
And, you know, sometimes
And I do know
niggas
y'all
are
niggas
into
like
that.
to beat each other off and stuff too, which I found fascinating.
Yeah, some people aren't, into all penetration
Yeah, that's
and
fair. Do whatever
same
your
like
thing
that. And
is.
also women are that too. Not everybody's into penetration.
No, I've also learned
But
that as well.
yeah, so I've learned that she's not okay with oral only. And that's what made me chuckle cuz I was like, "Oh, she wants to be taken to Pound Town so bad."
I
And
don't even know if oral is happening at this point, friend. From what I. So
she might
okay,
be she might be giving him handy J's.
that's what I think. That's what's happening here. I
You
think
know,
it's literally just a Handy J only
she might
business.
she might give a little,
We
buff a
only
helmet or two.
he might not let her, is what I'm saying.
Mm.
So okay, so so Pastor Cow asked about it. She's like, it's a 10 out of 10, right? Neither one of us expected to be this connected. It's the best relationship I ever had, like you said. He says, well, the best relationships have challenges, so let's get into those. The love thing you brought up, and um, Pastor Cow's like, I don't want you to not express yourself. And when she's bringing up the fact that she does have love for him, but she doesn't want to say it because she doesn't want to be hurt. And so she's like, I challenge you to talk to him in detail. A marriage can't be a 10 out of 10 if one of the people is afraid to completely and fully express themselves.
Well,
Very valid. Very valid. So she brings up the lack of intimacy. And this is why I feel the way that I feel, because the B roll was the vent session that she had with Romcom and Heather Headley.
oh yeah, where she
Where she,
told all of them, "I'm tired of not being fucked." Speech.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm beating this nigga off every night and nothing in return. So that's why I'm like, I don't even think I don't know what it is. But she says,
Yeah.
which I didn't even realize this before, because we saw where he has never said I love you in a relationship, but she says he has been in a relationship with various women for months to years without sex.
Right. I know. I did not pick up on that until she said it in this episode,
Me neither.
and which is interesting because her last relationship, they did not have sex either.
Right. She said maybe what, 4 times a year or some shit like that.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if this came up in the in the interview process for her, because remember a couple of episodes back where she essentially tied sex to trauma.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And not in a sense of like she was abused or anything, but there's an unhealthy attachment to sex that she has.
Right.
And his is very much like, in any under circumstances, he's not wrong in the relationship. Like, okay, maybe he has that Joan Clayton 90-day rule. Like, I still don't know you, nigga. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, if this was
Maybe
any
he
other
does, but
space,
we learned that he can go years.
yeah. So I'm just wondering, did they set them up together for her to learn something or for him to learn something? I mean, a relationship is only good if you're learning from one each other, right?
Maybe
So
it
it's
was
like,
the balance of both. Maybe they needed her eagerness to maybe bring some of that out of him, and then some of his subdued control, quote unquote, for her to be able to focus a little bit more on building the connection as opposed to the physical. Maybe that's what the experts were thinking about, but he doesn't talk about sex. He's not even comfortable talking about sex to her. So I'm wondering, there's only so much with those experts that can be done when it comes to something like that, where somebody is not communicating effectively. How are they to know that this nigga went years without sex with previous partners if he literally won't talk about sex?
true.
And I also did not pick up on that until this episode, because when I heard it, I was like, let me rewind just to make sure that I heard that. And when
Yeah.
she said multiple relationships ranging from months to years without sex, I said, okay. And she brings up a potential religious holdback.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I was like, okay, so he's either gay, he's asexual, or he's afraid of fornication. It's one of the three things. Not sure which one, but I feel like it's one of the, because I don't know what else it could be. So the more she asks, the further that he gets away from wanting to actually have sex, which is also very interesting. And Pastor Cal asked if she's going to be okay if this is all they'll ever do, and she finally admits no. So, baby, that's not a 10 out of 10.
Right. Again, therapy only works when you're honest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a break.
Yes.
And we'll be back with more Married at First Sight, episode 13. And we're back. Talking about Married at First Sight, episode 13, Unanswered Questions, here in season 12. This is also a reminder to subscribe to our Patreon. $7.
Yes.
You get video content multiple times a week. We took a break, but we're right back on it. So,
Seven Zola Hola.
yeah. But let's get back into the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, Doers is waiting for January 6th to get home and talk and download each other on what happened when they met with Tap, Dr. Pepper, whatever. And she, QAnon tells her everything that, what Dr. Pepper said.
But, sorry.
Go ahead.
The biggest thing he got from that conversation, the main thing he took away, was the drinking being a problem.
Oh, yeah. He didn't imply anything that she told him to do or say anything that Dr. Pepper told him to do. I will say the drinking thing is a big problem to address, but
it's something. It is something to talk about. Yes, but that's not the main thing.
He glazed over. Yeah, he glazed over the part about being mean and cruel.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, okay, here's the thing. I don't necessarily feel comfortable about that. And also, we would have had these arguments if we were sober or not. Which also led me to believe that she's not comfortable with not drinking.
Yeah, no, I agree. She immediately seized up and was like, what?
Right. But I also understand, yeah. Anywho. And she tenses up and she's just kind of like, listen. Let me tell you what she told me. Because she literally just ignores it.
Yes, and also he shows that control. He does what Tap says not to do. It may not have necessarily been dripping with cruelty, but he gives her a directive as opposed to having a conversation with her. He goes, if we're going to talk seriously, neither one of us need to be under the influence of anything. We need to be sober. And that needs to be that. And she's like, I'm not talking about that.
Nothing's ever a conversation. He talks at her.
Yeah.
And so she talks about her fears about kids and, and the Rocky thing. And he fake says he understands now because, he does shit to assuage her feelings, even though he never listens or applies. And so he also brings up about making plans and the whole, once a month thing. And she tenses up again. Which leads me to this idea of her checking out of the marriage already.
She don't want to hang out with him like that.
Yeah, that, and she's already, her needle has already moved to this space of, I'm not into this man like that. And I'm checked out and I'm ready for this shit to move on.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, she was ready to, work this out or whatever, even to see past, even when she already saw the signs when they were in Vegas about the friend thing. And then she had her friends come over, and ever since that housing conversation, she's been like,
I don't know about this one.
I don't know. But
he plays victim again.
Yeah, he's just like, at least once a month, you need to remember that you are married. And she's like, listen, I make plans a week in advance. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I need to cancel my plans for you. I wish she would have said, your work schedule. You know what I mean?
The thing about it is, I feel like she said what she needed to say, because if you go back, she also addresses the ultimatum issue, right? And he says, I don't like the word. I don't like that. That hurts when you say that. And she's like, but that's what it is. And it hurts me when you say that this is a deal breaker. Like, I feel like she clearly communicates with him, but he chooses to hear what he wants and he chooses to apply what he wants. But ultimately, he wants to dictate how this relationship goes. Because she didn't tell him, I'm not down for the once a month thing. She wasn't the most like, okay, that sounds fair. She wasn't that either.
Not at all.
She was like, well, I make my plans, and so like basically get in where you fit in. But she does say you need to be a better planner.
Yes, and again, this is where I was like, she's checked out. She's just kind of like, yeah.
And his whole thing, his is not about compromise either. Because he's not like, well, I'm only asking for one weekend out of the month. He is placing emphasis on, well, why wouldn't you want to cancel plans for me? Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. He has to assert himself in her life in all of these, which is why he's doing it with her dog, with her friends, with all these different things. He is trying to control her and assert himself in a way where he wants to make sure he is the most important being in her life. And that is unhealthy.
Which makes me wonder if that's what his father does.
And how he was in his last marriage. And how that bitch feels about him. Because it's very clear that he has control issues that are stemmed from severe insecurity.
Right. Because honestly, his ex-wife was way more attractive than he is. Yeah. Did you see that picture floating around?
I did.
And one of our listeners sent it to us. I was like, oh, she's pretty. How'd you end up with him?
Yeah.
Yeah. My point was she could do better.
Yes. Yeah. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Not that he's, I mean, he's a face.
She could do better.
He's a face.
Yeah.
He's not.
My point is, she got to know him longer than old girl, and so she could have done better.
Right.
And which made me believe that how he says the marriage ended didn't end how he said it did.
I don't believe anything he says. He paints. He structures narratives to fit what he wants them to fit in his mind. Notice that he said earlier in this episode or last episode, I always get hurt. That's what happens to me in my life. So this nigga there's no realistic viewpoints of anything in his fucking, no.
Right. So I don't think they're gonna make it.
I hope they don't. I really don't want her, because she's got those moments where she does like him, and I really just want her to loosen herself from this.
Yeah. Yeah, loose yourself, queen.
So moving on to Offred and Graham Cracker. So he waddles in from the meeting and kisses her on the forehead.
Yeah. You know what that means.
Not you biting your nails. It's like, I'm just saying.
I'm not not saying. I'm just saying.
And he goes right on into it and asks about religion and family, which leads me to believe that this is stronger on his heart and mind than what we've realized.
That, or he's very corporate about it and like, let's address the issue now.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's also
like,
true.
if anything, this could have been like an Outlook email chain, like circling back to.
Yes, but it was how that part of the conversation rounded out where I felt like, okay, because of his lack of communication, this is more important to him than what he has made her believe, and also what we have seen. So, he asked again about it, and she's like, well, once again, I don't mind my kids going to church. I don't mind raising my kids in church. I just don't want them to be forced into anything, and I want them to have the freedom to explore. Very valid.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, raising kids in the church is super important to me, and what you're saying is not particularly what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And before, Dr. Pepper challenged him to think about how sex affects her.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dr. Pepper is like, there could be feelings of rejection, feelings of, inadequacy, which are very valid.
Absolutely.
And which is why I say, maybe we'll Gucci sing. I don't know.
I can't. I can't.
I don't know. But, I will say Offred has a lot of respect for him, because if it was anybody else, or if it was a white man, she would say, tell him where to go and what to do.
I have no tolerance for this honkery.
Yeah. Yeah. No tolerance for this white nonsense. Like, give me that Dak.
Give me that cat.
Yeah, the cat. But because she respects him and black people, which I think that's where it mostly comes from.
Oh, her affirmations in the shower are definitely Black Lives Matter. His opinions are forefront. Like, Black Lives Matter. His opinions are forefront.
Just like Offred.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's like, I am sexually frustrated.
Yeah, good.
And he's like,
Oh, yeah. Didn't notice.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah. And she ultimately is like, so when we fucking, like, when do you anticipate you getting over this hump?
Yeah. So that we can hump.
Yeah, so we can hump. And she's like, he don't know.
Sure. He's like, I want it to be meaningful and special. I don't want it to be a box we just check off. And that's fine, sir. But y'all have... That ain't it.
Like, you put the mouth on the titty at least.
Right.
You know
Like,
what I mean?
nigga. She's like, okay, just literally, I don't know. Just rub the head of your dick right here. Like, just do something.
Yeah. And I'm also like, girl, like, do we need to have a GoFundMe to buy you a rabbit or like
so.
A Hitachi?
Yeah. Nigga, we
I'll
could buy
buy
her a
it for
bullet.
her.
I think she'd be happy. Nigga, we could buy her an electric toothbrush right now. I think it would be just fine.
Okay, a pager, nigga.
Put it on the pulse. So
Okay.
So yeah, that's that. Now we into 18 days left until decision making day.
Oh, and not a minute sooner. So we meet with Black Christian Weave Lady. And she meets with Dr. Pepper. And so she has choice words for #blessed.
Yeah. Starting with condolences.
Yeah. Yeah. She was like, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
We have failed you as experts.
Yeah. She was like, this was us.
Yeah. My bad, B. We owe you. Like, do you want a gift certificate to, like,
Chili's.
Longhorn, the Macaroni Grill, or something? We'll take you to Einstein's, honey.
She deserves Carrabba's.
Yeah, she deserves Carrabba's. She definitely does.
But it stops there. Because
Yes.
she has irritated me.
Yes. So Dr. Pepper says that #Bless didn't share everything that he was supposed to in the
Agreed.
interviews.
Agreed.
So that's why, things kind of went awry.
Yeah.
Also, and that he's a horrible human being.
Agreed.
And Paige goes through this thing of like she's blaming herself, like, what did I do to get into this situation? And
made
Dr.
me so
Pepper
sad.
immediately stops her and was just like, first of all,
Don't do that.
she's like, don't do that. Second of all, he is a narcissist, and she calls him a narcissist twice explicitly. Yes, and she also tells her to leave.
Mm-hmm.
No one has explicitly told her to leave, even though Pastor Cal has been like, I don't blame you. Dr. Sofia Vergara was like, well, maybe. Dr.
No,
Pepper
maybe
said, no,
nothing.
bitch, leave. Run. Get in front of some people. Like, no. It ain't worth it, Miss Dooley. It ain't worth it. Run.
And that's why I'm irritated. Because the thing about it is Dr. Thunder is correct. She has not been dealt a fair hand in this. He was not honest from the jump. You know what I'm saying? And nobody could anticipate this level of fuckery. But when he started to display it within 7.5 minutes, the red flags were not flagging. They weren't fucking flagging. It started with him telling your friends at your fucking wedding that he does not find you attractive. This nigga has called her ugly no less than 27 times. Which is false. But he has called her ugly no less than 27 times in various forms and fashions. And she still hangs on to this notion. Like, she goes back and forth between being pissed and then hanging on to this notion that, but maybe God, no!
No, bitch. No.
And God is going to come slap the whole fuck out of you if you say this one more time. It's going to be, you know that meme where they look confused and then they put all the confused memes around? It's the Nick, what's the Nick man who plays basketball? It's him. It's the Maggie Simpson. It's the fucking lady who in the courthouse who's like, it's all of them, just all manners of confusion. That's this bitch. Because she immediately starts to go into this, well, maybe, no. God, the Orishas, the ancestors, your spirit guides, everybody is creating one meme around you to be like, bitch, if you blame this on spirit one more motherfucking time.
Right. Like, why am I in it?
Why
like
am
Nene
I
said,
in it?
like, what? Now, why am I in it?
I ain't even do nothing.
Right. Sit here minding my business. And Dr. Pepper gets to the ret and says, okay, so listen, no. She's like, no, and I feel like that narcissist hurt you purposely. I'm like, oh, she must operate under Dr. Phil's school of thought. I was like, oh, okay. Kick them when they're down. Yeah. So, Dr. Pepper and her shawl was doing the work. Meanwhile, well, we'll get to him later. Well, no.
Well, she also asked about the meeting. Why she took the meeting? Why he even wanted to have a meeting? But why she took the meeting with his ex-fiance and the mother of his child? And she's like, I don't even know why he wanted to have that.
Yeah, but again, why did you agree to it?
Why'd you agree to it? Why, sis?
She never, and she goes back into this whole, I think this is what she felt like she was supposed to do.
Yes, this is what
Like,
I'm trying to
she-
tell you.
Like, yeah, she has made herself a prisoner in her own marriage.
In her own life. Because this ain't no marriage, bro. Like, let's be clear.
Yeah.
Like, calling this shit a marriage is a fucking joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I've seen
she's
Fish
made
have
herself a
better
prisoner.
marriages. Yeah, she has. So fast forward to #bless. Can we start? You know what? I have a new name for him, actually. It just came to me. I'm gonna start calling him Prayers Down. So Prayers Down is almost an hour late to his meeting with Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal was about to wrap this whole production shit up, and he strolls in with his yeast infection jeans per usual.
The Zeos, XIOS, his Fordham Road attire.
It's very Fordham
And
attire.
I laughed at this whole scene because it was no longer Pastor Calvin. It was Uncle Calvin.
No, nigga, it was just Calvin.
A nigga named Calvin.
A nigga named Calvin. Speaking of which, whatever happened to a nigga named Mikael? They let him on one episode and then let him go.
I mean, he ain't even on the show, so
You right.
you know what I mean?
You right. Go on.
So, Calvin is like, so what happened? Like, what is it now? And he goes on and says, you failed me as experts. He says, and he's so combative this whole time. And he's like,
This whole time
As
being
soon
this series, the show, the season.
right. Yeah. And he says from the minute that he saw her, he wasn't into her. And Calvin's like, well, why? I don't like her face.
29.
Like, he just called her ugly multiple times. And Calvin's like, you need to figure out that attraction is more than just physical.
He's like, yeah, nah, but if I saw her at the bar or church, like, it wouldn't even be happening. Then this nigga says, it is too many beautiful black queens, too many beautiful white queens, and too many beautiful Hispanic queens in Atlanta. And what makes you think they are attracted to you? He looked like the leftover pot of grease.
Yeah. I mean, I have something rude to say.
I ain't never wanted to kick nobody in the fucking face so bad. What? Say it. He deserves whatever you say.
Oh, it has nothing about him. It's about the people that would be interested in him.
Oh, no, don't do that. Because he deserves all of the smoke and the heat.
Yeah.
Stone
I will
that
just say
nigga.
the people that would be into him are the people that Michael from Love After Lockup dates.
Oh, February 13th ass bitches.
Yeah.
You ate my pussy last night ass bitches. You tasted, yes, all of that, yes. Okay, fair enough. Yes, because two raggities belong together.
Your girl tastes like honey bun. Yeah.
Your wife tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, honey. Or Teddy Grahams. That's what he said. Teddy
No,
Grahams.
he said Honey Nut
Teddy
Cheerios.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the most disrespectful, hilarious things I've ever heard in my life. I said, who the fuck says that?
Kevin Garnett, honey. Evil.
Kevin Garnett, that's So he said, he goes, yeah, y'all failed me. It shouldn't be hard. I'm not picky.
Duh, okay.
He goes, out of everybody in Atlanta, y'all picked someone who was mid.
And it's like, at what point?
What?
Like, do you own a mirror?
How do you see yourself?
Like, he must have, like, body dysmorphia.
It's not even
Like,
body, like just
'cause he
self-dysmorphia.
feels- Yeah, like the level of delusion. Like he looks like a Koopa Trooper from Super Mario Brothers.
Yes, he does. And his hair, he's got the what's the little porcupines? What was the porcupines on Sonic?
Yeah, he. Mm-hmm.
He got the hair, like his hair is ugly. You're not even using the sponge brush right. Like you got spiky hair.
Mm-hmm.
It looks dumb.
Mm-hmm.
You look stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He's kickable. He's punchable. Y'all shouldn't be putting your hands on nobody. No, that's a nigga who deserves hands. Like,
Yeah.
no, fight his face because he don't see himself right.
Yeah.
And
So
and
he
bring his
goes
daddy
on-
into it while you at it, cause that nigga is gross.
Oh, his. Damn, I wish I knew their last name so I could see if they on somebody's
Williams.
watch list, if you know what I
It's
mean.
Williams.
You know, on somebody's registry, because that
Yeah.
nigga's gross, if you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Oh, waiting in the shadows, ass nigga.
Mhm.
So Pastor Cal is just all the facial. He wants to throw up. He is calling bullshit.
he also wants to fight him.
does.
Like,
Yeah,
like
and he's
he is-
challenging him on everything that he says. He's like, "Yo, my nigga, you're the one who said you want a trophy wife, right? Right? Okay, so did y'all or did y'all not look good together on paper? Yeah. We look good on paper, but she's still mid.
Mm-hmm. He then asked about the car situation where he bought his future baby mom's a car, a Mercedes. And so Cal's like, so you didn't think that was a problem? And so Chris was like, well, it was my money. Number one. Two, I don't want her to go without. And three, I told her she could have came with us.
First of all, he says a Mercedes for Mercedes, and that made me hate him more. I didn't think that was possible.
Mercedes, Bernice, Tamar, Braxton.
Roxy Andrews.
Yeah, she do look like Roxy Andrews. Oh my God.
Pretty. So,
Yeah.
but which is a lie, but also like, what the fuck, nigga? You
Right.
told her after the fact, so you didn't tell her at all. Actually, you did not tell her when you were going to do it, so you didn't invite her to come. But how the fuck do you even let some stupid ass shit fly like that out of your mouth?
You want to know what the next stupid shit he said that flew out of his mouth?
Go ahead, tell.
And I
people.
quote, I've worked hard for my kids to have an inheritance, end quote.
So does that include your foreclosed Subway?
Mm-hmm.
Your repossessed Altima?
That's like he already put his baby's like name like on electricity. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like that's the
absolutely.
equivalent.
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
he's definitely the type to have like two of his babies have a light bill in their name.
And if it's a girl, her name's gonna be what's the word? What's the name? Heaven backwards.
Nevaeh.
Nevaeh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a Nevaeh ass nigga. I'm sorry if anybody named Nevaeh is listening to this show. I didn't make it up.
Yeah. It's not your fault, kings and queens.
It's not.
Mm-mm.
So, Pastor Cal's like, this has been painful for her. You didn't give her a fair chance. Like, he's like, I want you to actually completely take her out of the equation at this point. And let's get to the root of this. I need you to assess the demon that lives within you. Like, I need you to assess how you handle partners, because let's be clear, all of your relationships are failed. So this is no longer about Black Christian Weave Lady.
Right.
And you need to think out your moves. You need to be serious about how you move in this world. You need to learn something from this. Very Tyra style.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't been your finest hour, bro. And old boy gets combative. Prayers Down says, well, what you mean? This ain't been my finest hour. You don't think so? I can leave this knowing I left this with handling everything with the best of my ability.
He just doesn't get it. He refuses to.
And at the end of it, Pastor Cal said, you need to at least bare minimum apologize to her for turning her life the fuck upside down unbeknownst to her. And this nigga says, I can't and won't apologize. Castrate that nigga. Stab him in his dick. Brand his dick.
Stab him.
Stab him. She's packing her clothes. She's packing up the townhouse that she. Well, girl, why did you?
Why even be in that crib? You could have went home.
You could have just been at home. I thought she did.
Yeah, he was.
He was at home.
And I know it was his house because it had cords and shit every fucking where.
And this is where she irritated me. Again. Because she's talking about him ending their marriage. And that she's moving out with so many unanswered questions. She's moving, ready to move past this. She's ready to find love. She's like, it's worth the wait at this point, and I've learned things about myself. All that was great. But she said, when she said talking about him ending their marriage, it's not a marriage, girl. This was never a marriage. And you should have ended this shit on day 1.5.
After he humped you and told you were ugly.
Before the baby. Well, this is my time. You be blessed in your life. Okay. Let's take a break because this is also.
Okay.
This is also Let's take a break.
Okay, let's take a break and we'll be back after these messages. And we're back. Talking about Married at First Sight. We're almost at the end, guys.
And the mess ain't over.
It's not. Definitely not. So we took a break, but we come back with the heat. So, Pastor Cal and Miro meet. There's nothing really happens with them. It's the same situation. He's in love. They have minimal issues, and the issues that they have regards to communicating differently. That's not where the mess lived. The mess lived when Heather Headley meets with Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, I think the most pointed advice that Pastor Cal gave, not Miro, was to essentially like be aware of his self-care. He's like,
yes,
take your rest, King.
Yeah, there wasn't, just outside of that, it wasn't too much of things that we don't know about them.
Not
now. So when Brianna meets with Dr. Pepper, they go again. She's happy and in love. Her and her husband speak about each other in the same way, which is great. And they both recognize they have different communication styles, which is also healthy. But Dr. Pepper starts peeling back the layers of stuff, and they start talking about the budget. And, Heather's like, it's my money, nigga. Like, spend it how I want you. I'll work on it. Yeah. Nigga, it's mine. And so she doesn't understand why money is so important, but that's really because she lives in her own world about her money, and she makes a lot of it.
Ways. So,
yeah, and she's bossy. Is she a Taurus or a Virgo? What did we say she was?
She is not a Virgo. Let me see.
Or a Gemini. I feel like we had a lot of summer birthdays. A lot of Cancer Geminis on this show.
It's all or nothing. Well, where the hell are y'all? Okay, well, keep going while I look it up.
Okay, so Dr. Pepper's like, oh, honey, I get it, but you're in a marriage now, honey. This is, this, you do have to consider his feelings in this regard. And she's like, I know, but still, nigga, it's my money. And, she talks about whatever other issues that they want. And she talks about the timeline that her husband has set out about having children and starting a family. And he said to her that he wants to start having kids in like 1 or 2 years. And she's like, I don't know. And her rationale for hesitation about having kids is a very honest one that a lot of women, but particularly Black women, have, and this idea of safety in regards to giving birth, which, hospitals being shady towards Black women and, all the other stuff, and also the health complications. She admittedly says she has high blood pressure that's hereditary. Yeah. And that can definitely impact and have complications surrounding pregnancy.
Absolutely. Preeclampsia and all kinds of things.
And she has all of her fears are valid about like the physicality of it. Will I be able to bear in general? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what
absolutely.
does that mean?
She just said, I haven't spoken to him in as much detail as I probably should have.
Yes. And Dr. Pepper encourages her to do that because she was like, this is an actual very valid fear and something that he should know in the marriage because this may alter the course of your relationship. And she's right. Her fears are valid.
But it's fear-based though, because she doesn't want to disappoint him. And I've seen this a lot of times where men want a certain level of communication, or certain, they have certain expectations with family and kids, and you can handle this, and by being supportive of your partner or putting more pressure on them, which never does anything for anybody, right? It's not gonna make the kids be born any healthier or sooner or anything like that. And so, but there is a fear because the expectation falls on you, right? As the biological woman in a heterosexual relationship like this, if the expectation falls on you, you're the one who has to have the kid, if that's what you all talk about. And she feels a way because she doesn't want to disappoint, which obviously that lack of communication is not going to change that. But on a human level, you can understand how that may be impacting somebody, especially when they hear from the other person how much they want to have kids and so forth and so on. So I understand where she's coming from.
I understand too. I completely understand. But we'll revisit them later on.
Yes.
But then we move on to finally, Evil Villain is in this episode, and he talks to Pastor Cal. He looked kind of good in that suit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I called him
Evil Villain Isley.
Yeah.
Not that he looked good, but a beard does wonders for some of you niggas.
Yeah, because I was at the iPhone angle that he was filming or not. I was like, you look different, friend.
It's facial hair.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I get it. Got it. She also looked different too. So,
did she?
I don't know if she got a little nip and tuck or fill, whatever. Or her makeup was on point. So, she's been looking very different these last few episodes. It is how she's been applying her makeup. But she looks good. But, there's nothing really to talk about with them. It's just the fact that, Pastor Cal's like, well, are you attracted to the bitch? Like, he was just
very, very, very.
Yeah, but that's it. And it's ultimately because they don't know each other at all. Like, there's some things that they just glaze over because they nitpick out of each individual thing because, you know, and I feel like shit wasn't ever the same since they had sex.
Yes, that is when everything went awry.
Right. So Pastor Cal asks him about wanting to be married. Like, do you want to be married? Do you want this to work? And, you know, he challenges him to give this an earnest try. Y'all keep saying y'all are resetting or starting over, but you don't. You keep falling back and you keep holding on to this baggage of what happened in the past, and you never reset.
Right.
And so, you know, he's like, you know, I really do want this to work, and I'm going to make an effort. And so Dr. Pepper meets with Rom-Com. And I honestly wish that Dr. Pepper met with everybody.
Facts. Because she
because
gets to
Mama,
the meat and the potatoes.
Yeah, quickly. With this, the power of the green shawl.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So she asked, you know, high points, good points. In Rom-Com, it's not a glaze over. She really does give him his just due, you know, for the positive attributes that he has. She's like, he takes pride in his home. You know, he's smart. He's da-da-da. Like, she lists the things. He's a great guy with great qualities, right? Good dog dad, all that. She's like, but I just have not been able to connect with him. And Pepper Ann says they haven't gotten to know each other on a deeper level, which is what we already know. But what specifically? Again, getting to the crux of this shit. What specifically is it that you can't connect on? Like, ask yourself that question. And that's when we get a little bit more, because she's like, well, I'm really put off by the fact that every time I ask him about the last decade of his life, there is nothing. So what the fuck have you been doing with yourself? Right. And Dr. Pepper says, okay, well, that's great. Okay, let's talk about like, you guys need to talk about that. She's like, I feel like this just hasn't been a two-way street from what I've seen, though. She's like, because it seems like he's making a lot of changes for you, but there doesn't seem to be as many on your part. And then they cut to the B-roll
that
of
montage.
He's like, yeah, I've never drank as much as I have in the past 2 weeks. And then her buying him the clothes and the fashion show and the chart readings and all of these things. And she's like, I'm worried that you want somebody to literally just drop right on into your life to fit in like a puzzle piece. And that's not a realistic goal. That's not what a realistic relationship, marriage, partnership looks like. Because it is two people coming together with two lives and figuring out how to make those work together. And she asked her about, okay, so tell me about like some of the expectations that maybe you put on yourself or that, you know, somebody else has put on you. And she talks about her parents and how they put high expectations on her and how she also puts high expectations on herself. And then she starts to cry. Yeah. And says this relationship feels like a sense of failure.
Because of you.
Right. And Dr. Pepper's like, well, it's not a failure because it's not over. You have time to build a connection, but do you?
Right.
Do you?
Do you really? Nah.
Really?
Exactly. So, you know, when it came to her tears, Dr. Pepper was kind of just like, okay. Like, girl, get over it. She wasn't as sensitive to her as she thought she would be. And so, you know, again, she challenges her to give this another try because you niggas don't know each other.
And you've not given this a fair shot.
Exactly. So, we fast forward to the end of the episode where we meet with Heather and Miro and Rom-Com and Evil Villain both recapping their therapy sessions. And Miro, you know, gets very tense and uncomfortable
Yeah.
about. He's like, I want to be responsible. That's literally what I'm trying to tell you.
But there's an element of a lack of compromise, because he does say, listen, if we could just cut back a little bit. So I won't say that actually. He goes, if you could just cut back a little bit. I'm not asking you to change your whole lifestyle. But like, are there some changes that we can make? That is the extent of his compromise and his reasonability, or his ability to be reasonable, because he she's like, I work hard and I want to enjoy my money, which is also kind of, she doesn't say, okay, well maybe I can. She's like, oh no, she does. I'm so sorry. She's like, I can bring it down to $150, $200 or whatever. She's like, and again, reiterates, these dates don't have to be $200 date. I don't have those expectations all the time. I want to be realistic. I do want to be courted. This is not a normal situation. There needs to be a courting period within this relationship, and a continuous courting, in all honesty, on both parts within a relationship, if we're going to make this work. And he's like, I just want to be more strategic about how I view money. And I think it's because he's broke. I don't think that it's invalid to want to build for a future and make reasonable changes, but his extreme hesitancy seems like a lack of fundage.
I don't know. I feel like she probably makes more money than he does. And I feel like his money is more secure. I don't think he broke, though.
Well, maybe so, maybe not. But he definitely, there's some hesitancy.
I will say there is something to say about Caribbean men and wanting to live this American dream. And I've noticed that in a lot of, family included, this idea of 2.5, kids, car, fence, that type of thing. And so when they're faced to task, because marriage is such a big thing with Caribbean men, they want to be this provider, and they want to be, a king is only good as his family in their regard. You know what I mean? And so him wanting to, having a house and those type of things, I get it where it comes from.
Right.
But they also need to have a more honest conversation about finances, meaning what are we doing together, and what are you doing separately?
And she was like, so do I have to change my ways because you have these goals? Which,
right. Yes and no, because his goals impact you.
Yes.
But also he needs to be realistic about how this budget would go, how long it would take to adhere to a budget, because it does take time. And also, what level does your business impact your income, and will that impact me later?
Like, am I going to be the breadwinner in this situation when you choose to buy this home because you have an entrepreneurial spirit? So, and obviously they're not going to show all that on TV, but y'all really do need to have an honest conversation about what you're bringing into the household. She needs to say, I purchased these things for myself because I can. And she kind of did to an extent. She's like, but, I live a certain way because I make this money and I want to live this way. And she doesn't seem irresponsible either. She doesn't come off as irresponsible. So that's where I'm like, he has to get a little bit over this ego or whatever this is that is making him so staunch.
It also might be this idea of her making more money than he does.
Exactly.
Which is also a thing.
And what Dr. Pepper said about, I can't say this lady's name, about
Dr. Schwartz.
Thank you. Frankie, Dr. Frankie. What she said about, it's not necessarily about the money, it's about the idea of the money.
Yes,
and you need to you need to see kind of how he grew up, and you all need to talk about those things. What's the mentality behind the money, because it's much bigger than money.
Yes.
So then she asked him, well, what kind of things did you all talk about? He's like, well, there's the sleeping in thing, and I would like to find some kind of compromise on that. And this is where we see her unwilling to compromise because she's like, go ahead.
Because, again, like I've said before, black women don't like seeing niggas laid up all day. Mm-mm. Get up.
She's like, well, the compromise is go to bed earlier so you can get up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yeah, but what's the compromise? She's like, well, don't use your phone in the bed right before you go to sleep because it keeps your brain activity up.
Mama was trying to be like...
All of these things are valid points as it pertains to the study of sleep.
Yes.
However,
but not you and your marriage, queen.
Exactly. If he is a night person and you are not, you find ways to coexist together while still respecting each other as individual human beings.
Yep.
I wish Tristan would tell me go to bed earlier. I am a 4 a.m. bitch. I've been that way my whole life. I got fussed at by my mother. Why are you cleaning your room at 2 o'clock in the morning? Because this is when I feel alive. Like, that is just who I am. Don't come in here and try to change up who I am. If you're concerned about my health because things are starting to display themselves or something along those lines. But I don't ever try to mitigate this nigga's sleep schedule when he naps or anything, and he doesn't try to do anything with mine either.
Right.
What the fuck are y'all doing today?
It's a busy day in Brooklyn.
The streets are bustling. So she is unwilling to compromise or see his point of view on this whole sleep matter. She's like, yeah, no, I want you up with me. And there goes that bossy element that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm giving it to you with this money. You made this money before he came in here. These were your habits. Like, I can understand making adjustments for your individual family, when you all have conversations, but nah, queen, do you. But this, no.
No.
And her lack of compromise is an issue for him now. He's starting to kind of see.
He was warned about
Mm-hmm.
when they first got married, when her parents or her family dragged her at the altar.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then she tells him about the pregnancy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he takes it in and he's like, he handled it better than I thought he would. I expected him to be worse because of how he acts when he doesn't get his way.
Okay, an attitude.
Yes. So he just kind of was just there and taking it all in. I think to her outwardly he wasn't as disrespectful as what I thought he was going to be.
No, but she did say she sees this frustration in his face, and you could see it.
Yes.
So it's a lot for him to take in. She said it's a lot for him to take in. She said just like it's a lot for me to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's remember that. And she's like, I should have talked to you more about it, but I had a lot of, I feel a way like this is something I'm working through because I don't want to disappoint. And I know how much you want kids and how much you've talked about this, but this is a real fear for me, in my physical body. Now, this alarmed him because he goes into this notion of, I don't want to be on my deathbed, and I don't have no kids there.
Okay, so here's my Jackie O. I would like to leave this planet in my Park Avenue apartment, with my 2 children on my side, like Jackie O did. However, I don't want children. I understand. I understand this idea of when you get older, who, I don't know. I have an obscure view of children, so maybe I'm not the best person to do about this, because there's an idea of, okay, you have children to make your family complete, quote unquote, or whatever, how people, I'm taking you out of this, but is how I feel, right? And so then I'm like, when you have, ain't the purpose of having kids of like, well, not the purpose, but when you get older, there's somewhat of an expectation that your children take care of you, right?
Okay. Go ahead.
Not to say that is their responsibility, but there is this ongoing thought or idea process that I have children. There is this circle of life. Like, what's that book that I used to get as a kid where like you're born and then you go through that cycle of adulthood, and then it's like the baby is now the adult and taking care of the baby as they reach. Yes, with a little white baby in the bathtub on the cover. Yeah, it's like that. But and that's also because, you know, women die faster than men because they have to put up with their bullshit. But you know what I mean? So it's like,
live a lot of times too.
Yeah. So I just, you know what I mean? His wanting children is a selfish reason, but it's a reason that I've heard often.
Yes, no, that is a common notion. It is a problem because you said it. It's not. We have to realize it is not our children's responsibility to take care of us. I know it's an expectation a lot of times because of society and just, you know, like you said, the circle of life and all of those things. We need to try to set ourselves up so that burden does not fall on our children, because that then interrupts the life that we have worked so hard to for them to be able to build what they want, right? So take your time, set them up, and set yourself up, because they already have to deal with the grieving process. Why do they have to deal? Like, they already have to deal with that aspect of it. And if they choose, I want my parent in the household with me, you know, I'll get a nurse, I'll take care. You know, if they're able to do those things and they want to do those things, then beautiful. That is a testament to how they feel about you, I guess. But there are also people who cannot handle watching that. That don't make them a bad person because they don't want the parent in the household. I say all this to say we have to stop putting expectations on our children for them to take care of us in the future. Well, I need to
and take care of their siblings too.
And take care of their siblings. Like, that's not what they came to this earth for. That is not what they are in this life for. That is not why they are here right now. Everybody is here for their own individual purposes and journeys, and that does not always include being a mule.
Right.
So, you know, and I was really disturbed by his response to her. Well, don't you want to do this sooner than later because of the health implications? As opposed to a supportive response, such as, well, I can see how this can make you feel this way. He didn't even really acknowledge her fears. He didn't address them. He just went right on to what his agenda and his objective is, and how she can work in that. I knew my gut.
Not being. Yeah, but I also think. Yeah, I don't think he has a whole nother family like you do.
No, I don't think he has another family, but something is amiss with him.
I think men in general, or cis hetero men, have don't necessarily have. I'm not gonna say they don't have the compassion, but they don't have a level of understanding to lend itself to compassion of what women go through. Because pregnancy doesn't end when the baby is born. You know what I mean? There's long-lasting effects of pregnancy. whether
And
the
again,
baby comes to
have
term
you
or
ever
not.
looked into preeclampsia? Have you ever looked into the effects of high blood pressure on a pregnant woman and what that could lead? Bed rest, the loss of her life and the baby's. Like, have you looked into any of this before you open your fucking mouth and tell her how she can handle this situation better?
Right. And that's a problem. So, well, we last move on with rom-com and evil villain. And they're attempting to take the advice of the experts.
They are.
And they're getting to the root of their issues. And rom-com is like, she admits that the past relationship, that she keeps talking about for the last 5 years was very controlling and abusive. And this is why she has a wall. And it's like, yes, we got that. But she never told that to him.
Right.
And so he's
she
like,
got more proof than prayers down, because she's not going to be like, I'm not attracted to you. And I don't even know if she's not attracted to him. It maybe, I don't know.
I don't think she's not attracted to him. I feel like his attitude sullied her attraction, which that would do anybody.
Yes. Yeah, I think that is definitely a big part of it. I think they both have played a big role in this. 'Cause she did put a wall up initially.
And he also came with a shit ton of baggage. And insecurity.
Boots. Pack light. That nigga did not. So that nigga came
not
with
at all.
2-month-long roll-ons and 2 carry-ons. Like he came with the shits. So they both have a lot of work to do, which I'll get to in a second. She talks about the control and how that's played a part and why she is the way that she is and why she needs this space and why she doesn't want to ever be controlled by somebody else again, which might lead to her why she is also low-key controlling. And then she also brings up the issue of, you not being able to tell me what you've been doing for the last decade of your life really bothers me. And he's like, all right, let me be clear with you. The reason why I don't have a lot to say is because a lot hasn't been going on. Because I've been spending the last decade of my life trying to find a wife. While I've watched every single one of my friends get married, build families, have kids. And that's what I've wanted. And that is why I don't have a whole lot to say, because that's been the journey that I've been on. And she's like, that actually makes so much more sense to me. So this seems to be the first time that they've said they're going to make another effort, and they're actually going to do it.
Yeah.
From this
so
episode.
it seems. So it seems, because it all goes to hell next week.
That's what it looks like. Now, here's my overall theme question from this episode. Are the experts encouraging therapy beforehand to address previous relationship traumas, childhood traumas, so forth and so on? Because
girl, no.
Between Heather Headley's, very valid fear, let's be clear, rom-coms control issues because of her past relationship, Black Christian weave lady, period.
Anderson
Prayers
Paak,
down
oh God.
/ bless, period. QAnon / January 6th, period. And then Doer / Cavassier / Lagavulin / Port / Chambord. Her and her childhood traumas. There seems to be a lot that comes up, which, again, when you bring two human beings together, there will be challenges and things that come up because we are human beings. But these are some deep-seated rut issues that I'm wondering if they are being encouraged in this process to address in therapy.
I don't think so. Only because the fact that the process is only like 2 months or whatever, right? Like 2 or 3 months. And a lot of these people got years and years of, couch time that's needed. So I don't, And no, remember because Cuddy Sark was like she needed to get a therapist,
She did, and Paige got two.
which we might need a whole nother episode about why she needs two therapists.
Do we? Because I feel like we've seen it. We
Yeah,
have seen
that's
this
true.
nigga play all over her face, and her say multiple times that God planned this.
Yeah, she
So
lives in
I
the
don't
Tyler
I don't
Perry
think we
play.
need to address why she needs two therapists, and you know, that's not shade. That's just the truth.
She gonna get her some Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I just want Mama to just not attend a few.
Yeah, no more. Leave. Go for walks on Sundays. You know what I mean?
Or
You don't
go
have to
a
log into
progressive
Zoom.
church. I'm not even here to dictate nobody's spiritual practices, but
Yeah.
go to a more progressive church where they're not encouraging you to take in this bullshit.
Yeah. Is there like an all women's church? Make that a thing.
Right?
That would be
we know you're
great,
part
actually.
of a sorority.
Yeah.
We know that
Yeah.
for certain.
Why aren't
Okay.
your line sisters gathering you? They
Well,
tried.
no,
They tried.
No,
I
they
know.
tried.
They
Made it
tried.
very explicitly clear.
Yeah, they
that
tried.
they did
She just
try.
don't listen.
She don't listen.
You know.
She
Everybody
insisted on
got a
doing
everybody
this
got a
shit.
homegirl that don't listen.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. It's cool. But anywho, that was this last week's and this week's episode. Stay tuned because we'll be right back on track with next week's episode following the afternoon or evening of the following day. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow on the main show, on the main stage.
Yeah. We're talking about dick. Bye.
Yeah, bye.